What if one of the most dominant technologies of the modern web, a language powering over 75% of all websites, was never meant to be a language at all? Our story begins in 1994 with a programmer named Rasmus Lerdorf. He wasn't trying to build a new language, he had a simple problem to solve. He needed a way to track who was visiting his online resume. So he wrote a series of simple tools in the C programming language to help. He called this toolkit the Personal Homepage Tools, or for short, PHP. Its job was simple: make web pages dynamic, and it was brilliant. The story of PHP as a public project begins on June 8, 1995. On this day, Rasmus Lerdorf released his creation to the world, calling it by its original humble name, Personal Homepage Tools. But the project evolved at lightning speed. Just a few months later, on September 1st, Rasmus expanded its capabilities. For a short time he even dropped the PHP name, calling the new implementation FI, which stood for Forms Interpreter. The evolution didn't stop there. By October 1st, the code was completely rewritten. The PHP name returned, this time as the Personal Homepage Construction Kit. This version was the first to have what was then considered an advanced scripting interface. But its most important feature was a strategic choice. The language was deliberately designed to resemble C in its structure. This made it incredibly easy for an entire generation of developers already familiar with C or Perl to adopt it almost instantly. This decision was a key factor in its future success. By April 1st, 1996, the code gets another complete makeover, and in April of 1996, Rasmus introduces PHP FI, combining the names of previous releases. This second-generation implementation began the true evolution of PHP from a suite of tools into a programming language in its own right. It included built-in support for DBM, MSQL, and Postgres 95 databases, cookies, user-defined function support, and much more. On November 1st, 1997, the project officially gets a version 2.0 release known as PHP FI. But an interesting footnote in history is that this would be the one and only full version of PHP 2. Why? Because by the time it finally graduated from beta, its underlying parsing engine was already being entirely rewritten. The future of PHP was secretly being forged by two new developers who found it wanting. Just 1 month later, in December 1997, Andy Gutmans and Zeev Saraski officially joined the project. They were students at the Technion University in Israel, developing an e-commerce application for a university project. They quickly found PHP FI2 to be inefficient and lacking the features they needed. So with academic ambition, they embarked on a complete rewrite of the underlying interpreter. In the true spirit of open source, they reached out to Rasmus online to discuss his current implementation and their ambitious redevelopment of PHP. A new era was about to begin. The next major chapter in PHP's history begins on June 6, 1998, with the landmark release of PHP 3.0. Zeev and Andy rewrote the interpreter and introduced a new extension API which makes it a lot easier for the community to contribute new extensions. The language was also officially renamed to the recursive acronym PHP Hypertext Preprocessor. PHP 3 was installed on approximately 10% of all web servers on the internet. The new power of PHP 3 quickly inspired new tools. On September 9, 1998, Tobias Ratchiller released PHPMyAdmin, a web-based tool that made managing MySQL databases incredibly simple for developers everywhere. Just 2 months later, on November 15th, the project gained its iconic identity. Vincent Pontier created the Elephant logo, which has been the adorable mascot of the PHP language ever since. To support the language's professional growth, on January 1, 1999, Zend Company founded. The name Zend is a combination of Saraski's and Gutman's forenames, Zeev and Andy. Zend has been a source of PHP innovations and development ever since its founding. The new millennium kicked off with a major release. On May 22, 2000, PHP 4.0 was released. It comes with a brand new Zend engine core developed by Andy and Zeev. In addition to a massive performance boost, PHP 4 included crucial features for web applications. HTTP sessions to remember users between pages, output buffering for better control over server responses, and support for more web servers than ever before. The LAMP stack, Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP became the undisputed king of web hosting. This new professional platform inspired a wave of essential tools. In March 2001, the Smarty templating engine was released, allowing developers to cleanly separate their programming logic from their HTML design. Then, in November 2001, Sebastian Bergman began work on what would become PHP Unit, the most used testing framework in the ecosystem, bringing professional-grade quality assurance to the language. The ecosystem matured further with the first release of Xdebug in April 2002 for deep debugging, and in November 2002, the first MVC framework, Frame, introduced a powerful new way to architect applications. As the ecosystem's focus shifted to performance, December 9, 2002, saw the introduction of Cache. This influential opcode cache worked like a server's short-term memory, storing pre-compiled script bytecode to skip the heavy compilation step on subsequent requests and dramatically accelerate applications. And on December 1, 2003, a key figure joined the story. Dmitry Stogov joined Zend. While he would help develop most of PHP 5's core subsystems, his greatest contribution was yet to come, leading the project that would bring PHP its next great leap in speed.
On July 13, 2004, the next great leap occurred. PHP 5.0 was released. Powered by the new Zend Engine 2, it introduced a powerful object model and new extensions like Simple XML and MySQLi, forever changing how large applications were built. This new object-oriented foundation sparked a Cambrian explosion of frameworks. On September 13, 2004, Prado emerged as one of the first robust frameworks to fully embrace PHP 5. On October 18, 2005, Fabien Potencier made the first commit of Symfony, a framework that would champion the idea of reusable components. Just 1 month later, on November 24, 2005, PHP 5.1 was released. It came with a completely rewritten date handling system and enabled the powerful PDO extension by default, delivering significant performance improvements over 5.0 thanks to optimizations in the Zend VM. The framework revolution continued. On February 25, 2006, CodeIgniter 1 was released, becoming one of the first rapid development frameworks and inspiring many that followed. Just days later, on March 3, the Zend framework was launched, bringing PHP into the enterprise market.
On November 2, 2006, the highly successful PHP 5.2 was released. With a new memory manager, input filtering, and built-in JSON support, it was so stable and popular that it remained the most used version all the way until 2013. The ecosystem thrived. On December 3, 2008, the author of Prado released Yi 1, a new high-speed framework that drew inspiration from the best ideas in the web development world. On June 30, 2009, PHP 5.3 was released. This was a monumental update, bringing highly anticipated support for namespaces and anonymous functions, finally making PHP a truly mature language. While PHP 5 was thriving, the ambitious PHP 6 project, which aimed to add native Unicode support, officially stalled and was abandoned on March 11, 2010. The complexity of the task blocked other features from being released, but the ecosystem didn't wait. On May 27, 2010, PHP Storm 1.0 was released. This powerful IDE with deep support for Xdebug and PHP Unit would become the industry standard for professional PHP development. On June 9, 2011, Taylor Otwell released Laravel 1, an attempt to provide a more advanced alternative to CodeIgniter. It would go on to revolutionize the entire PHP landscape with its focus on developer happiness and elegant syntax. By August 21, 2011, PHP finally received its own state-of-the-art package management tool. Composer was born, bringing PHP in line with other major languages and changing how applications were built forever. The PHP 5 series continued its evolution. PHP 5.4, released on March 1, 2012, brought traits, a new way to reuse code, along with significant performance and memory improvements. The improvements continued with PHP 5.5 on June 20, 2013, which introduced generators and the powerful Zend OP Cache extension, opening the door for major performance optimizations. The introduction of Zend OP Cache, an open-source version of a former commercial Zend product, replaced a range of competing solutions, such as the commercial Zend Accelerator and IonCube, and the free APC and E Accelerator,
and marked a shift in performance optimization focus. From accelerating the Zend VM itself, to more complex bytecode optimizations, which ultimately paved the way for the JIT compiler. August 28, 2014, saw the release of PHP 5.6, the last major version in the PHP 5 series. It brought constant scalar expressions, the splat operator, and even operator overloading for GMP objects. And on October 6, 2015, an era symbolically came to an end. Rogue Wave acquired Zend, the company that had stood behind the language's core since PHP 3. After the long era of PHP 5, the community was ready for a revolution. On December 3, 2015, it arrived. PHP 7.0 was released, representing a major renewal of the language. Powered by the brand new Zend Engine 3, codenamed PHP-NG, the results were breathtaking. PHP 7.0 was twice as fast as the previous PHP 5.6 release, breathing new life into the entire ecosystem. PHP now adopted a rapid yearly release cycle. On December 1, 2016, PHP 7.1 brought safer code with nullable types, class constant visibility modifiers, void return type. A year later, on November 30, 2017, PHP 7.2 made history by becoming the first programming language with modern cryptography built into its standard library. It also brings object type hint and parameter type widening. The improvements continued. On December 6, 2018, PHP 7.3 was released, focusing on developer quality of life, with updates for heterodox strings and improved memory management. The year 2019 brought significant changes to the ecosystem. In January, key core contributor Nikita Popov joined the PHP Storm team at JetBrains to work with the PHP Storm team on improving the PHP language and ecosystem. That same month, Zend, the company behind PHP's core, was acquired by Perforce as part of its parent company, Rogue Wave. This corporate shift culminated on April 17, 2019, when the iconic Zend framework was rebranded and moved to a new community-governed project, Laminas. The era culminated on November 28, 2019, with the feature-packed release of PHP 7.4. It brought modern features developers love, including concise arrow functions and strongly typed properties. And even as the PHP 7 series reached its peak, the future was already being written. On May 4, 2020, the community officially accepted the attributes proposal for the next major version, setting the stage for PHP 8. As the PHP 7 era concluded, the stage was set for the next major evolution. On November 26, 2020, celebrating 25 years of history, PHP 8.0 was released. It brought powerful features like the JIT compiler for a new level of speed and union types for more flexible code. But it also massively improved the developer experience with constructor property promotion, attributes, a new match syntax, and named parameters, making code cleaner and more readable than ever. As PHP entered a new era of innovation with the release of version 8.0, the community focused on ensuring the language's long-term future and sustainability. This led to a crucial initiative announced on November 14, 2021, the PHP Foundation. It operates as a non-profit organization with a mission to fund developers to contribute to the PHP core and ecosystem. Backed by major companies like JetBrains, Automatic, and others, the Foundation ensures that the evolution and maintenance of the PHP language remain a vibrant, community-driven effort. The yearly releases continued. On November 25, 2021, PHP 8.1 introduced enums, a powerful way to define a set of allowed values, never return type, intersection types, read-only properties, and fibers, a foundation for future asynchronous programming, while also cleaning up the language by deprecating old features. 1 year later, on December 8, 2022, PHP 8.2 continued the focus on robustness with read-only classes to create unchangeable data structures, and added sensitive parameter redaction to automatically hide passwords or private data in error logs. PHP 8.3, released on November 23, 2023, brought further refinement with typed class constants, granular datetime exceptions, fallback value support for PHP ini environment variable syntax, and more. Then, on November 21, 2024, PHP 8.4 introduced a new lightweight JIT framework. IR, lightweight JIT compilation framework, is used as a base for PHP JIT since PHP 8.4. Also added powerful property hooks, asymmetric visibility support in classes, database driver-specific PDO classes, lazy objects, and native HTML5 support in its DOM extension. From a simple set of tools to a mature, high-performance engine of the web, PHP's story is one of pragmatism, community, and constant reinvention. It wasn't designed, it evolved. And with a vibrant community and a yearly release cycle, it's still evolving today, continuing to power a massive part of our digital world.